Indiana. New era, new energy. Already making plans for next season. Like, what are you doing? What are you doing, Indiana?
The Indiana Fever just made one of the most talked about mistakes in WNBA history, and it's got everyone buzzing about Caitlin Clark's future. What if a single deleted social media post accidentally revealed the Fever's top secret roster moves for the WNBA expansion draft and left fans and analysts scrambling to make sense of it?
So, the expansion draft is happening at the start of December, and Stephanie White is the coach of the Fever, and it's going to be interesting to see who they protect.
The stakes couldn't be higher. November 25th marks the deadline for teams to submit their protected players, and the Fever's slip-up might have shown the entire world their hand. This isn't just a minor hiccup. It's a revelation that could shape Indiana's strategy and the league's landscape for years to come. But this isn't just about the WNBA. It's about the rising stars shaping its future. Caitlin Clark's meteoric rookie season already has fans calling her the next big thing in basketball. Meanwhile, Indiana's playoff push has ignited hopes that this once struggling franchise is finally turning things around.
The future is so bright, and our ultimate goal is to hang another banner in the field house. And our ultimate goal is to come back in here after we win that championship and celebrate again like we did in 2012.
In this video, we'll break down everything you need to know. What the Golden State Valkyries expansion draft means for the Fever, the players they're rumored to be protecting, and the fiery debate over whether one controversial name deserves a spot on the list. And hey, let's all hope this slip-up didn't cost some poor intern their job. Stick around as we explore the high-stakes implications of this leak for Caitlin Clark, the Fever, and the entire WNBA. Before we break it down, please don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Are you ready? Let's go.
We have a new team, the Golden State Valkyries, that's going to begin and play in 2025. But before that happens, we need to have an expansion draft because they need some players on their roster.
Let's set the stage. The WNBA expansion draft is one of the most anticipated events of the offseason. This year, it's even more high stakes because of one name, Caitlin Clark. Here's how it works. The Golden State Valkyries, a brand new team set to debut in 2025, will get a chance to build their roster by selecting players from every other WNBA team. But there's a catch. Each franchise can protect up to 6 players, shielding them from being drafted. Any unprotected player is fair game, including free agents, though the Valkyries can only draft one unrestricted free agent in total. Here's the catch. The protected list is unpublicized, meaning only the management of the Valkyries and the management of each individual team will know the list they've submitted.
The expansion draft is happening on December the 6th. It's going to be live on ESPN. But before that happens, here's what you need to know.
The deadline for teams to submit their protected players? November 25th. And the draft itself? It's happening on December 6th. For the Fever, this deadline marks a turning point. After years of struggling at the bottom of the league, Indiana finally broke through in 2024 with a playoff appearance and a winning record. Now, with a new coach, Stephanie White, at the helm, and a young, electrifying core led by Caitlin Clark, Aaliyah Boston, Kelsey Mitchell, and Lexi Hull, the Fever have a rare chance to secure their future. This isn't just about avoiding mistakes. It's about capitalizing on momentum. Caitlin Clark's rookie season wasn't just historic. It was transformational. She smashed records, brought packed crowds to arenas, and gave Indiana a legitimate superstar to rally around. Alongside Aaliyah Boston, a dominant post player who's already among the league's best, the Fever have a duo that could redefine the franchise's future. Add in key players like Kelsey Mitchell and Lexi Hull, and you've got a foundation that screams potential.
In women's sports, it's a big opportunity to be a part of this rising tide that we're all experiencing. Everybody in this company's all in. Everybody in this city's all in.
But the stakes are sky high. Protecting the wrong players could leave Indiana vulnerable, allowing the Valkyries to steal valuable talent or disrupt their chemistry. Teams also have to think beyond the draft. Free agency and potential trades are just as important. And that's why the Fever's leaked protected list is making waves. It may have revealed their entire strategy at the worst possible moment. This isn't just about one team. It's about the power dynamics of the entire league. Expansion drafts are rare, and they force every franchise to make agonizing decisions. So, how does a single deleted post hold so much power? And what does it say about Indiana's next move? Let's dig into what happened and why fans are buzzing.
The fact that it was deleted makes me believe they weren't ready for the backlash that transpired from said post. But of course, there are screenshots.
Now let's get to the moment that turned the entire WNBA fan base into amateur detectives. On November 24th, just days before the expansion draft protection deadline, The Indiana Fever's social media team posted a graphic that was meant to celebrate the future. It featured head coach Stephanie White standing in front of 6 players with the caption, "New era, new energy," already making plans for next season. The post was quickly deleted in less than an hour, but not before eagle-eyed fans took screenshots and began analyzing every detail. The 6 players in the image, Caitlin Clark, Aaliyah Boston, Kelsey Mitchell, Lexi Hull, Nalissa Smith, and Temi Fagbenley. For those following the WNBA closely, this looked an awful lot like the Fever's protected player list for the expansion draft. A perfect match with ESPN predictions.
The reason this has become a thing is because the players in front of her, well, there were 6 of them. And the WNBA draft, the expansion draft coming up, you can protect 6 players from the Golden State Valkyries. Each team, each franchise can. So fans try to put 2 and 2 together, seeing the 6 players that Stephanie White was talking to and thinking those must be the 6 players that the Indiana Fever protected.
Fans immediately flooded forums and social media with theories. Was this an accidental leak or just a poorly timed promotional post? If it was indeed a leak, it wasn't just a simple mistake. It could drastically impact the Fever's plans. Revealing their protected players gives other teams insight into Indiana's priorities. The social media post didn't just raise eyebrows, it ignited a firestorm of debates and speculation. Some fans even wondered if this leak was intentional, a way for the Fever to gauge public reaction before finalizing their decisions. Intentional or not, the consequences of this post are impossible to ignore. The bigger question is, what does this reveal about the Fever's priorities? And are they making the right calls with their rumored protected 6? Let's break it all down. If you've made it this far and are enjoying the video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on all notifications. We know watching this video takes some of your time, and we appreciate you. Now back to the action.
There's not even one scenario ever out there in all the multiverses where Caitlin Clark wouldn't be on the list. Aaliyah Boston, same thing goes for her. Kelsey Mitchell's going to be a free agent, but we know the Fever really want to bring her back. They've been celebrating her accomplishments in China. They just posted an hour of her highlights online. They can core her if they have her rights and keep her under contract. So it makes sense that they'd keep that big 3 together.
Now that we've seen the rumored protected player list, let's break it down player by player. These 6 names reveal a lot about Indiana's priorities and their vision for the future. First, let's talk about the core 4. Caitlin Clark, Aaliyah Boston, Kelsey Mitchell, and Lexi Hull. These are no-brainers. Caitlin Clark, fresh off a historic Rookie of the Year season, is the face of the franchise and the WNBA's most marketable player right now. Aaliyah Boston, a former first overall pick, is already one of the league's best bigs and anchors both ends of the floor. Kelsey Mitchell, a scoring machine and an experienced veteran who's critical for the team's offensive flow. And Lexi Hull brings grit, defense, and improved shooting. A perfect complement to the Stars.
Obviously, Lexi Hull falls into that group as well. Hull is a glue-type player, plays hard, gets to the loose balls, takes on the tough assignments.
But then there's Nalissa Smith. Her inclusion sparked immediate debate among fans. While Smith's athleticism and potential are there, her inconsistency on the court and the fallout from the infamous eye poke incident with her girlfriend and the ensuing TikTok video afterwards make her a polarizing figure.
On-court stuff, she's not the best decision maker with the basketball. Motor comes into question at times, not really a shooter. However, there was also the other stuff. She would seem to have an issue with Christy Sides. Doesn't seem to stay away from social media at times. And then the thing with Dejanay Carrington and the Sun and the Fever.
Some believe Smith represents unrealized potential. Protecting her is about keeping the Fever's trade options open. Others question whether her uneven performances and off-court distractions are worth the risk. Regardless, from a strategic perspective, losing Smith without compensation would be a significant setback for Indiana. If Indiana can turn her potential into meaningful assets, her inclusion on the list could prove to be a masterstroke.
Maybe Stephanie White sees the talent that Nalissa has, and she clearly has talent, and thinks, I can get the most out of Nalissa. Or maybe the Fever think, hey, we're not going to lose her for nothing. Let's protect her because she does have trade value. There is no Satu trade with no Nalissa Smith because they really need a power forward. Like, really, 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 really need a power forward. So they need to, like, if there's no Nalissa trade, there's no Satu. Because, again,
If Nalissa is not available for trade, then Satu Sabali is not going to be got because there's no good power forwards in free agency. Satu or Nalissa at least has some potential, but she can come in as a replacement for Satu with the other assets they get, and they at least get something.
The 6th spot allegedly belongs to Temi Fagbinlay, a veteran who played a significant role early in the season before injuries slowed her down.
Temi Fagbinlay is a winning attitude kind of player, plays hard on defense, really ran the floor well on the season, did a nice job converting Caitlin Clark's passes early in the year. Didn't do as well later in the year with that. Blew a lot of layups and bunnies, but I think part of that was because she had a hand injury.
Her inclusion raises eyebrows because many fans expected Grace Berger, a younger player with high potential, to make the cut. Temi's versatility and defensive skills could give her the edge, especially in a draft where veteran stability is highly valued. Still, critics argue that prioritizing Temi over Berger could hinder the Fever's long-term growth, as younger players represent future building blocks. Now, the exclusions. Grace Berger and Damiris Dantas are the most surprising omissions. Berger, though underutilized this season, is seen as a future asset with the ability to step into a bigger role as Clark's backup at point guard. Dantas, on the other hand, is a seasoned player who can stretch the floor, score efficiently, and provide depth. Their absence could signal that Indiana is leaving the door open for trades, or that they are willing to gamble on losing these players to secure other priorities.
You just never know. You just never, ever know when it comes to the WNBA. Like, nothing will surprise me. But this is a competent franchise. They're going to keep the players that have the most value, whether it be on the court or in the trade room.
Fans are split. Some applaud the Fever's focus on their stars and potential trade flexibility, while others worry this approach could cost them key players with untapped potential. It's a balancing act between securing the present and building for the future. The question is, did the Fever strike the right balance? This fallout also speaks to a larger trend in the WNBA. Teams are becoming more strategic and secretive as the league grows in competitiveness. Expansion drafts are rare, and every decision has ripple effects across the league. Whether this leak was accidental or strategic, it has positioned Indiana at the center of one of the offseason's biggest stories. But what do fans think of these decisions? And how does this impact Indiana's path to contention?
Nonetheless, the WNBA now getting some of the vibes that the NBA has gotten in free agency and off seasons in the past, where fans can't stop speculating about every little thing.
This leaked list has done more than just fuel fan debates. It's a window into the Fever's priorities and the evolving dynamics of the WNBA. Whether intentional or accidental, the social media post has turned up the pressure on Indiana's front office, forcing them to navigate the fallout carefully. For the Fever, the decisions they make now will define their trajectory for years to come. If the rumored list holds true, it suggests a bold commitment to their young core while keeping trade options open for players like Nalissa Smith. But this strategy is a gamble. Protecting Smith over promising talents like Grace Berger risks alienating fans if the plan doesn't yield results. On the flip side, securing foundational players like Caitlin Clark, Aaliyah Boston, Kelsey Mitchell, and Lexi Hull gives Indiana a chance to build a contender, if they can maintain the right balance of talent and chemistry.
Let's call it a little Fever fun, right? I mean, it's an all-season topic. It's perfect for that. A little bit of Fever fun. We can have that. And shout out to the social team if they're getting in trouble today. No big deal, right?
This incident also highlights a broader shift in the WNBA. With the league expanding and competition intensifying, teams are under increasing scrutiny. The Golden State Valkyries' entry into the league signals a new era, one where every roster decision carries heightened stakes. The Fever's apparent misstep is a reminder that in this high-stakes environment, even a single deleted post can shift narratives, strategies, and rile up the fan base. So, what's next? Fans are watching closely to see if Indiana's rumored protected six becomes reality, or if the team has a few surprises left in store before the draft. Meanwhile, the Valkyries are gearing up to make their first moves, and the rest of the league will undoubtedly feel the ripple effects. One thing's for sure, the WNBA's offseason has never been this exciting. Who do you think Indiana should protect? And what moves would you make in their position? Let us know in the comments. Like, subscribe, and turn on all notifications so you never miss out. Click the video on the screen and we will see you in the next one.